Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my client Lewis's vlog, and we're keeping his training real simple. He's continuing his cut, and even then he's kind of realized, we're looking at body weight. He's lost 9 kilograms since he's been cutting, and he's like, man, I was almost 100 kilos, which means he was over 200 pounds, still kind of as a novice. And he's like, yeah, I really had bulked too far. So for people who aren't understanding that, let's keep in mind here. They were like, well, guys this early on shouldn't be worried about cutting, except he's a young guy. Goes to college and everything, or uni as they call it. He does care about those things. And, he had gotten, fluffy already. He had lost all that weight when he got sick, had surgery and everything else, started bulking and then rehired me, and he had already gained quite a bit of weight. He had put a bunch of fluff on. And, keep in mind, it's one thing to say, well, people need to be bulking, but, he was already over 200 pounds, okay? Now, that's really not, the weight he should have been at, because even now, he's lost 20 pounds, 9 kilograms. He's still, not super lean. So, keep that in mind, guys. So we need a context for that. That's why, as his coach, I'm like, let's do this. That's okay. Let's get you leaner. Let's get you healthier. He's almost kind of to where he feels like is a place where he's comfortable. Keep in mind, he wasn't saying, hey, I need to cut lean. I just need to cut to where I feel healthy and comfortable and not embarrassed. So we're still trimming him down, and then we will build him up from there. Because then he can do a nice, very, very slow lean bulk, eat lots of protein, and just get stronger at the big lifts. Again, lots of hypertrophy work, lots of good range of motion stuff, and just build him up from there. So here's what his training looks like. Again, it's very basic. Upper body days, we're flat benching, doing barbell rows, dumbbell rows, incline, and then we do some arm work, right? Nice full range of motion arm work. Same thing, we're benching with a pause, inclining with a pause, trying to get a stretch on all the rowing. Again, taking this stuff through little ranges of motion. Again, trying to get as much growth stimulus as we can while he's dieting down to retain muscle well. And keep in mind, he's lost relatively quickly. So yeah, people are like, well, he's novice enough, he should be gaining. Not necessarily. All right, not necessarily. Not in the case of when he's lost pretty quickly. All right, so then what are we doing for lower days? Squats, and I've got him squatting pretty deep, trying to get him below parallel. I'm going to get him as deep as you can. Focus on rep quality. Don't get in a hurry. Get good reps. All right, deadlift being the one lift we really don't care as much about some of that. It's like, let's just get strong on the deadlift. We don't have to worry about the range of motion as much because it's fixed. But you guys know how I feel about the deadlift. You already know. But then for the posterior chain, of course, for him, we are still doing the good mornings. And those, of course, we get a good stretch on the hamstrings. Then I have him do some ab work. So it's squats, deadlifts, good mornings, ab work. Basic stuff. All right, we're just doing the basics. And, it's about accountability for him. And, for some people go, well, should someone need a coach for this? Of course they do. In many cases, they do. Keep in mind, he was struggling on his own. And a lot of people do find on their own early on, even through the novices. And that's a topic that people do need to understand. Different people have different needs as far as what they can commit to this stuff and to learning and focusing on it. In his case, he's running a small business from home. He's going to school full time. All right. He's got a lot of stuff going on. He doesn't have the time to figure out all the programming. He's just lets him take the guesswork, and then he has accountability. I tell him what he needs to do with the training. He makes decisions on what he wants to do with certain things in body composition, and I take that into account. Okay? Take that into account. And I think that's the thing that people always forget when it comes to coaching, though. When they don't understand the people who are usually hiring coaches. It's not what everyone thinks. Oh, it's just the top athletes are hiring coaches, but they all don't. And I don't know why people think that they do. A lot of world champions don't have coaches in strength sports and stuff, believe it or not. I know some people find that hard to believe, but it is true. Some do, some don't. It's a mixed bag. Way more people hire coaches who are simply busy people who don't have time to dedicate their life to learning about lifting. They just don't. Now, for people who have time to learn, I make all these vlogs, all this information, people who can absorb all my content, maybe the content of other creators and coaches and people they like. Great, you got the free time, the free mental energy to do it. Those people may or may not need a coach. If they absorb enough. I've had people who are insanely strong who are like, I watched your stuff for years. Look, here's my first 500-pound bench press at a meet. It's like, wow. And it's humbling when I get those. Because they learned my stuff, but they dedicated to it. They dedicated to it. But I feel like clients like Lewis, these are people who are good to put in blogs, because realistically, this is really advertising coaching. It's really advertising coaching. You guys want to know the truth? I don't get clients based upon my elite lifters. It's one reason I'm doing less and less of it. Not even bothering anymore to use them for marketing and for outreach. You know why? No one can relate to them. No one can relate to guys squatting 600 pounds. They're obviously there. You guys have seen me put a few up of these crazy strong lifters. People can't relate to that. I don't know that makes for the best content. People can relate to intermediates on their struggle. They can relate to the advanced lifter if they're a lot older, and then they're on their struggle. And I just picked up another one of those clients this week. In his 40s, already been watching me a long time, just over a 300 bench. Can't get his deadlift where he wants it. Those are people who are going to hire you. Okay? And that's a simple thing as a coach. A lot of you guys are going to learn that. A lot of your elite lifters, you're not making a living off of them. Half the time they can't afford to keep you very long. They learn the little bit they can, they rotate out. Or they need deals, they need discounts. They're not a good business model. Just being honest, they're not. Struggling intermediate, struggling early advanced lifter who's financially stable and doesn't have time to learn all of this stuff. Those are your clients, right? For prospective coaches out there. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.